Hari Om. Today's topic of discussion is Hatha Parampara, Introduction of Hatha Yoga Text, Hatha Pradipika and Gheranda Samhita. Hatha Yoga Introduction. Hatha Yoga has its origin in Tantra, which is more than 7,000 years old. The root word tan means to extend. The tra means consciousness. Trayate, that which liberates. Tantra is expansion of consciousness, awakening a pranic energy, union of self with the universal self, or it is also called as a moksha, kaivalya, nirvana, whatever. Different names are given by the different darshanas. All the schools of yoga and all the Indian philosophical views are again and again emphasizing on the moksha as the ultimate aim of every human being. We got this birth as a human being or manushya yoni because of the previous good karma, and one can get the chance to break this cycle of birth, death, rebirth, the vicious cycle only in this birth, that is of the manushya yoni. So they are giving a emphasis on this moksha or kaivalya and how to attain about it. The Lord Shiva or Adinatha is called as a first guru or the orator of this tradition. Shiva taught the yoga to Shakti or Parvati, his wife. This is a well known story in all the books. The Shiva means all pervasive consciousness, and Shakti is an energy, that is a manifested consciousness, the nature that we can experience. Shiva and Shakti are not two different entities, but the Shakti is a creation of Shiva. This tradition is called as a Shaiva Parampara. The guru of this tradition is called as a Natha. Natha means who protects. So Shiva is also called as a Adinatha. Adi means first one. He was a first guru who protect us, and he is capable to give us a moksha. So how to attain it? All about is discussed in the Tantra. The Tantra tradition believes that there is a dormant energy which can be awakened by expansion of consciousness. Everyone has this energy which is inactive that can be get activated. There are different practices and traditions that are followed in this Tantra. Like a mantra yoga, different mantras are chanted, bija mantras and all, laya yoga, different geometric patterns and symbols are used, which is called as a mandala, or different gestures, mudra. Hatha yoga is one of it. Hatha yoga tradition from Natha Sampradaya flourished around 3rd to 10th century. Somewhere it is given that 3rd to 4th century, somewhere it is written that 8th to 10th century. We can call it all around the 3rd to 10th century. Natha Sampradaya of Hatha yoga has flourished. Sampradaya is a specific word used in a Sanskrit for the succession of knowledge, one guru to next guru. So this tradition comes in a guru shishya parampara. Directly we can say it's an uninterrupted series, a continuation knowledge is given to one guru to shishya. Shishya becomes a guru and he gives the same knowledge to his disciples. That is called as a parampara. The practice of parampara is in the spiritual teachings, art forms, educational areas to be passed down directly through a number of consecutive generations without losing any of the message along the way. The direct lineage of parampara means that the current guru and the three went before him all are worshipped by the disciple intending to carry on their teachings. So, three gurus and his teachings will be same one. Parampara is the primary means by the teaching of a yoga has survived the ages. It has allowed generation after generation to receive the powerful undiluted teaching in yoga and other spiritual matters. In this Hatha Yoga Parampara, the two names are very important and popular, Matsyendranath and Gorakshanath. Matsyendranath is the founder of Hatha Yoga. There is a small story about it. They say that Shiva is teaching a yoga to Parvati, Shakti, and sitting near the pond, and there was a fish who listened this everything, and with the blessings of the Shiva, he becomes Natha, that is a guru of Matsyendranath. That's why the name is Matsyendranath. Okay, story, let it be. His disciple Gorakshanath has written many books, Goraksha Samhita, Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati, Goraksha Shataka, and many more. And he has spread the Hatha Sampradaya everywhere. The books are very important and very popular. Shiva Samhita, Yoga Taravari are also important books giving the teachings about the Hatha Yoga. Hatha Pradipika is one of the important book written by Swami Swatmaram. In this book, he has mentioned the lineage of 32 Natha, 32 gurus before him, Swatmaram. The list of is given. Gheranda Samhita and Hatha Pradipika are the popular books about the Hatha Yoga. The common meaning of the word Hatha is to be stubborn or stiffness, to persist in something with efforts. Hatha Yoga also told as a with strength. Something has to be done with strength. Here the strength needed is not only the mental in the form of willpower or persistence, but the physical too. The point to remember that while the word Hatha refers to the stubbornness, it does not mean the blind following or compulsion doing everything. We don't have to compel ourselves to do the things, but um, the degree of strength required to follow this path is very high. Hatha yoga has to be followed in very systematic way, disciplinary manner. Lot of strength is required and patience to follow this path. The sound ha is also referred to the sun, the force of prana, Surya Nadi, and constitute a body and mind, which we can experience activeness. The sound th to the moon, that is a mental energy of chitta. It is also called as Atma Shakti or Shiva Shakti. Th, Chandra Nadi. These two creates the extremities of introversion and extroversion. The Hatha Yoga says that these two energies or these two nadis are fluctuations. They are fluctuating, and that's why the person is unable to concentrate, become a stable, or he can't concentrate on the one practices. The concept of Hatha Yoga is to bring harmony between two great forces called as a Ida Pingala, that is prana energy and mental force and pranic force, and became a subtle, stable, and mind became a focused one. Hatha Yoga emphasizes on purification of the body through Shatkarma. Hatha Yoga believes self-control and self-discipline should start with the body. Shatkarma tends to purify the energy pattern, purifying the nadis, not only the physical level. Purifying of the nadi is a very important part in the Hatha Yoga practices. With the intense purification, prana flows freely without any disturbance. That will be the perfect preparation of Nadi Shuddhis, and all Nadi Shuddhis are the physical level and internal Sukshma Nadis. All has to be purified first. This is a first preparation stage Hatha Yoga is emphasizing on. Then mind can concentrate on the object or the dhyana can be practiced. So preparation of the dhyana will be the second step or a subtle practice or higher studies of the Hatha Yoga. And why we have to do this? Ultimate aim is the moksha, to attain the moksha or samadhi stage. Hatha Yoga believes the ultimate goal of a moksha can be attained by arousing potential energy, that is a kundalini, awakening of sushumna, awakening of chakras. Awakened Kundalini energy has to pass through Sushumna from Muladhara chakra to Sahasrara chakra. Then one can attain the moksha. And before this awakening of Kundalini, the yogi has to be fully prepared physically, mentally, and at the subtle level. He has to be very much prepared for this energy flow. So the different patterns, how we can achieve the goal, how to go with the Shuddhi Kriyas, Asanas, what preparation we have to do. So Hatha Yoga texts are explaining about all these things. So let's discuss about the one of the book, that is Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Hatha Yoga Pradipika is written by Swami Swatmarama, and it is around the 14th to 15th century. It has a 4 chapters, 4 Upadesha, it is called as, and that's why it is called as a Chaturanga Yoga. Chatura means 4. Chatura Anga Yoga, 4 Anga of Yoga. Asana, Pranayama, Mudra, Bandha, and Samadhi, these are the 4. Some of the manuscripts states that there are 5 chapters and some says only 4. The last chapter is about Aushadhi Kathanam, that is the therapeutic use of a yoga, but some of the manuscript says that it was added afterwards, it is not the original one. It's okay. Hatha Yoga Pradipika means light on Hatha Yoga. Pradipika means light, focusing or illumination. In the first chapter, Asana, initially Swatmaram has given the relation between the Raja Yoga and Hatha Yoga. He says, Pranamya Shri Guru Natham Swatmaramena Yogina Kevala Raja Yogaya Hatha Vidyopadishyate Bhrantya Bahumatadvante Raja Yoga Majanatam Hatha Pradipika Dhatte Smatva Rama Krupakaraha. Yogi Swatmaram emphasized that Hatha Yoga is to be practiced for the purpose of preparing oneself for the highest state of Raja Yoga, that is a Samadhi. The highest state of Raja Yoga is unknown due to the misconceptions created by varying ideas and concepts. So Swatmaram, with the blessings of his Guru, offering light on Hatha Yoga. The highest goal of yoga is attainment of Kaivalya, the point at which Raja Yoga culminates. There are different practices and branches of yoga that lead to that state. Swatmaram humbly shows a way which may be easier for an average person to follow in order to come closer to Raja Yoga. Swatmaram mentioned in the end of first chapter, Hatha Yoga has to be practiced till the Raja Yoga is obtained. In the fourth chapter, Swatmaram has given lots of similar names for the Raja Yoga. That is a Raja Yoga, Samadhi, Unmani, Manonmai, Amaratva, Laya, Shunya, Turiya, and all these. All are synopses. So it is very clear that as per the Hatha Yoga or according to Swatmarama, Raja Yoga is the Samadhi stage. So clearly we can say what is the relationship between the Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga. So Raja Yoga is the final aim of Hatha Yoga, and Raja Yoga is nothing but the Samadhi phase. Remembering the holy Shiva, the former Guru, the first verse is salutation to Adinatha, Shiva, who is the first Guru. After Swatmarama has mentioned the list of Guru like Matsyendranath, Gorakshanath, Chaurangi, Bhairava, and many more, express his gratitude towards the masters. Hatha Sampradaya always emphasize on the Guru. Without a proper Guru or a guide, one can't achieve the result of Hatha Yoga. Then Swatmaram explains why we have to practice the Hatha Yoga. For that, he has given the 2 aspects. अशेषतापतप्तानां समाश्रयमठो हठः अशेषयोगयुक्तानां आधारकमठो हठः. Like a house protecting one from the heat of a sun, Hatha Yoga protects its practitioner from the burning heat of the 3 tapas. Adhyatmika, related with the body and mind. Adi Daivika, related to worldly things and relationships. Adi Bhautika, because of natural calamities. 3 kinds of suffering, or we can call it as spiritual afflictions, physical afflictions and worldly afflictions. This is a one aspect. And another one is the sadhaka who is following other paths of yoga. For them, hatha yoga is also helpful to make their path to follow that path very easily. That's why we have to go with this hatha yoga practices. Then Svatmaram states about where to practice, the place where to practice, matha concept. Very important one. सुराज्ये धार्मिकदेशे सुभिक्षे निरुपद्रवे धनुप्रमाणपर्यन्तं शीला अग्निजलवर्जिते एकान्ते मठिकामध्ये स्थातव्यं हठयोगिना. He who practices the Hatha Yoga should live alone in the Matha, situated in the place free from rocks, water, fire, to the extent of bow length, and in a well-ruled kingdom, which is prosperous and free from disturbance. Being alone is important because the goal in yoga training is to reach self-realization. The sadhaka should select such a place from where, with a comfortable traveling distance, he should get the food from the city but free from crowd. The atmosphere should be clean, peaceful, clean, free from rocks and fire and water, landslides, and all these things. As we know, environment plays a major role in influencing the results of sadhana. If sadhana is performed in a disturbing atmosphere or a negative vibrations, too much energy is dissipated in simply trying to overcome this negative influence. The body and mind are easily get attracted towards the negativity, and it is much easier to fall under the influence of negative vibrations than to rise above them. Whereas the positive atmosphere itself charges one with the energy, inspiration, helpful for sadhana. So it is essential for the sadhaka to choose the quiet and pure surroundings. The matha should have a small door and should be without any windows. It should be leveled without any holes. It should be neither too high, too low, nor too long. It should be very clean, being well cleaned with the cow dung, free from all insects. Outside should be attractive hall with a mandapa, raised seat and all. Nearby the well is recommended and surrounded by the wall. Small door, no windows, no holes, no cracks. Probably recommended to keep the insects and other pets entering entering from the sadhana room. No windows may have been recommended so that the atmosphere would be dark and more helpful for internalization awareness and introverting the mind, might be less distractions. And the sadhana room should be spotlessly clean. That's why it might be given that it should not be too long, too low, too high, and it should be cleaned with the cow dung and all these things. The outside of the matha, the open platform with a garden or roof, probably useful for the summer months when it is too hot to practice, especially pranayama indoor. Fresh water is essential for good health, and for the sadhana also. Sadhaka also needs a water for purification practices and all. That's why the well should be nearby. All the suggestions according to the concept which is given in the long back. But still, the concept is very important. Smatma Rama is outlining the instructions for intensive Hatha Yoga sadhana, and therefore he gives a prime importance to minimize the external distraction and conserving the vital energy for the inward journey. The mind has to be protected from the outside influences, and the body should have a good defense mechanism. The mind and body must be kept pure, simple, and modest. That's why this matha concept is very important one. Then, after the matha concept, Swatmarama explains about the enemies of yoga, six enemies of the yoga. Pratyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagrahah janasangascha laulyancha shadbhir yogo vinashyati. Through overeating, overexertion, talkativeness, stubborn persistence regarding the disciplines, the company of the people, and fickleness, yoga is lost. Very common one, overeating, we know that. When the body is overloaded with the food, it becomes sluggish and the mind becomes dull. Over the times, toxins built up, digestive problems arises, and disease and all these things. So avoid the overeating. Sadhaka should avoid the overexertion or overstraining the body and mind. Sadhaka has to conserve and build up his store of energy for the spiritual purpose and should not waste it in performing any unnecessary physical and mental feast. Too much talking dissipates the vital energy, wasting of the time also. That time has to be better to spend in awakening the inner awareness. Stubborn persistence regarding the discipline, or we can call it as adhering to the rules. Sadhaka has to follow only the Guru's instructions, only the rules and regulations which are helpful for the sadhana. Social rituals and religious doctrines may not be concerned with this sadhana. Adhering to such rules makes one narrow minded. Yoga means to expand the consciousness, not to limit it. Yogi should have a free and open mind. So, other than the yoga, it is suggested he should not make himself very strict to be the follow the other rules. Avoiding the company of the people, gossiping with the people who have a low moral, worldly desires may influence the sadhaka with a negative vibrations. Social situations and irrelative discussions definitely distract the mind from the sadhana. So, unnecessary to go with the people. Unsteadiness or fickleness means the imbalanced body metabolism. Inability to hold one posture for a period of time, a wavering mind, fluctuating mind. When there is a physical, mental, emotional imbalances, one cannot practice the yoga. So, unsteadiness also means a wavering willpower. We, the sadhana needs a strong willpower and steadiness, firmness of his mind. So, all these are called as the enemies of the yoga. When a sadhaka is in the process of uniting the two opposite forces of the Ida and Pingala, he must avoid all the activities which waste the energy and distract the mind. Swatmarama also explains about the um, six fronts, that is a success in the yoga. Six things are called as a sadhaka tattva. उत्साहात् साहसात् धैर्यात् तत्त्वज्ञानाश्च निश्चयात् जनसंगपरित्यागात् षड्भिर्योग प्रसिद्ध्यति. With the enthusiasm, courage, perseverance, discrimination, unshakable faith, avoiding the company of the people are the six things which leads the sadhaka to success in the yoga. Enthusiasm, we can call it as a positive attitude. It is absolutely essential. Constant inspiration and the idea of attaining the perfection generates the energy and helps to maintain the regular practices. So the positive attitude is very important one. The courage, the sadhaka should have courageous mind, or you should have that quality to face any of the changes, might be a turmoils from the internal world or external things, whatever might be. You should be able to face. During the sadhana, there are a lot of changes in the inner world and in the outer world. You should face it courageously. Perseverance, we can say, no matter whatever happened in the external world, sadhana must be done very regularly. One may progress in the sadhana in a few months, one may require a year, one may take the whole lifetime. But sadhaka should always be optimistic for his sadhana. Discrimination is also a prerequisite for the success in a yoga. Everything, whatever the sadhaka is doing, he should be able to discriminate whether these things are helpful for my sadhana or not. Everything means diet, clothing, company of a people, material necessities, whatever he is doing, everything should be helpful for the sadhana. If something is going wrong, he should leave it immediately. He should not get attracted towards the worldly things. That's why the discrimination capability is very important one. Unshakable faith in Guru and in the sadhana is very important one. One can doubt, you can doubt yourself on your own ability to achieve anything, but if you have a faith in a guru and guru says you can move the mountain, you will do it. That is the faith you should have it. That courage, perseverance and the faith go hand in hand, not only in the face of the internal hardship but the external one also. Everywhere these three things goes hand in hand, all together we have to go. Last one, the until the sadhaka's physical, mental, emotional and psychic resistance are developed, it is better to stay away from the social interaction and negative influences. Avoid the company of the other people. These are the six factors are helpful to get the success in yoga, are called as a sadhaka tattva. After this full preparation, Swatmarama has started explaining about the first limb, that is a first upadesha, that is about the asana. Hatastha prathamangatvat asanam purvamuchyate kuryat tad asanam sthairya arogya cha angalaghavam. Asana is the first part of the Hatha sadhana. Hatha yoga is a process through which the purification and control of the body takes place by restructuring the pranic flows. The Hatha Yogi also found that by developing the control of the body through asana, the mind is controlled. And the benefit of the asana, whatever asana might be you are performing, steadiness, that is a sthairya, arogya, mind and by body and mind diseaseless, and the angalaghavam, that is a lightness, flexibility of the all limbs, is the result of asana, and this is the first limb. After that, Svatmaram explained about the 15 asanas. Swastikasan, Gomukhasan, Virasan, Kurmasan, Kukkuttasan, Uttana Kurmasan, Dhanurasan, Matsyendrasan, Paschimottanasan, Mayurasan and Shavasana. For that 15 asanas, Swatmaram has given the techniques of the asanas, how to perform that asanas he has given. For some of the asanas, the special results are mentioned. We can't say that these are logically proven and everything, but very special results are given for that. For example, for the Matsyendrasan, he says that Swatmarama says is the asana. This Matsyendrasan is the asana explained by the great Guru Matsyendranath. It increases the appetite and is an instrument for destroying the group of most deadly diseases. Its practice awaken the kundalini, stop the nectar shedding from the moon in the people. For the Paschimottanasana, Swatmarama says, this Paschimotana carries the air from front to back part of the body, that is for the Sushumna. It activates the Sushumna like that. It increases the gastric fire, reduces the obesity, and cures all the diseases. For the Mayurasan, it is stated that Mayurasan destroys all the diseases. It removes the abdominal disorders um, because of the irregularities in the Vata Pitta Kapha. It can be cured, and it is helpful for the digestion. Digestion for digest unwholesome food taken in excess. It increases the appetite and destroys the most deadly poison. That up to that level, Mayurasan is good. Uh, there is no specific research on this, but these are the special results mentioned by the Smatmaram. Among these 15 asanas, 4 asanas are described as the asana chatushtay or the special asanas. It says that Shiva taught 84 good asanas. Among them, 4 are very, very important: Siddhasan, Padmasan, Simhasan, and Bhadrasan. Siddhasan is also called as Vajrasan, Muktasan, and Guptasan. These are the same names for the Siddhasan. Asan posture is same. This is the chief of all asanas. By practicing this Siddhasan for 12 years, yogi obtained success. Prana becomes calm and restrained by Keval Kumbhaka. Yogi experienced the Unmani stage. Padmasan is the destroyer of all diseases. Padmasan practice with the bandhas is helpful for awakening the Shakti, and yogi can enjoy the highest bliss. Simhasan and Bhadrasan are the best asana to practice the bandhas. Bhadrasan destroys all the diseases and help to get rid of fatigue. So this is a special the specialities are given by the Swatmaram. In the first chapter of asanas, after explaining the asanas and all, the very important concept the Swatmaram has discussing about the Mitahara, that is a diet. For that he says, Brahmachari Mitahari Tyagi Yoga Parayana. One who is Brahmachari takes the moderate pure food, is regular and intent on yoga, and renounces he leaves all the attachment of the sensual experiences, becomes a siddha after a year. And for that, mitahara, this is one of the very important concept he has explained about it. So he is defining the mitahara: sustigdham madhura ahara chatur dashangsha vivarjitaha bhujyate shiva sampritye mitahara sa uchyate. Mitahara is defined as agreeable and sweet food, leaving 1/4 of the stomach free and eaten as an offering to please the Shiva. Sweet food means fresh, pleasant food. Mitahara means a sattvic food, which is fresh, easy to digest, and with full of nutrition. Shiva is the inner consciousness or Atma. Everything the yogi eats should be considered as a prasada or an offering from a supreme being. This is a very important and for eradicating the sense of ego. I want this, I eat, I like, I don't like. All these things can be considered in this. Food is not taken for the sense gratification, but to sustain the vehicle for the Atman. Therefore, eating should be considered as a part of one's sadhana. He says life is a sadhana. So, eating is the diet is one of the important factor which is considered for the helpful for the sadhana. It should be helpful for the sadhana. If it is there is any problem regarding the ahara diet, the sadhana may not be a successful. Mitahara means a moderate food. Whatever is required as per the requirement of the body, only that much food has to be consumed. Swatmaram also explained in detail about what to eat, how to eat, pathya and apathya, what to eat and what to avoid, all these things. Mitahara, this concept also explained in the Gheranda Samhita. We will discuss it little more in detail in a Gheranda Samhita. Second Upadesha or second chapter is about the pranayama. So first he has given importance to the guru. Pranayam should be practiced under the guidance of the guru or a master. The first verse is telling about us. After that, why? The purpose of pranayam. Chale vate chalam chittam nishchale nishchalam bhave yogit sthanutvam apnoti tato vayam nirodhayet. So long as the prana stays in the body, it is called as a life. Prana is so important. Chitta is equally moving or unsteady as prana. Both are interdependent. When prana in the body becomes steady, the chitta naturally becomes steady and calm. To purify the nadis, one can practice the pranayam regularly. Then Swatmaram has explained about the methods of the pranayam, results of the pranayam, and all, phases and all. The method of the Nadi Shodhan pranayam is explained by Swataram. With the proper practice of Nadi Shodhan pranayam, all the nadis will be purified within 3 months. How to practice it? So he says, in the morning, at the noon, in the evening, and in midnight, one should offer the practice of Kumbhaka, gradually building up, grows on to the 80 breaths. 80 Kumbhakas has to be practiced in every session. When the sadhana of a yogi reaches to the first stage, he can experience the perspiration. As the sadhana develops in the middle stage, he experiences the trembling. And at the final stage, when the sadhana is reached at the peak, complete steadiness can be experienced. In other terms, we can say in the first stage, sympathetic activation is high. In the middle stage, the yogi becomes sensitive and experience quarreling in the favoring feeling in the spine. And in the final stage, all the activities of the body and mind level are steady. Again, during the pranayam phase, Swatmaram guides about the diet. Milk and ghee is recommended for a yogi in the initial phase of pranayam practice. Very important precautions before starting a pranayam, Swatmaram is giving us. प्राणायामादियुक्तेन सर्वरोगक्षयो भवेत् अयुक्ताभ्यासयोगेन सर्वरोगसमुद्भवः. Smatmaram specifically mentions that the pranayama has to be practiced as per one's capacity and gradually has to develop it. Pranayama, if practiced in a proper way, one will be free from all diseases. But if practiced improperly, generated diseases. And he has explained the diseases, what will happen, that like hiccup, asthma, cough, pain in head and ear and all these things. He has mentioned the list of it. So it is very important one. Pranayama results in a nadi purification, which can be experienced by increasing digestive power. He is able to hear the inner sound, that is a nada, and yogi will be free from the diseases. If he is unable to do this because of excess meda, that is a fat, or shleshma, then Shatkarma practice has to be done first. So, according to Swatmaramji, the only person who has a excess of meda or shleshma mucus has to practice a Shatkarma, then he has to start with the pranayama. Other than that, everyone can go through directly with practicing the pranayama. They can attain the, they can experience, they can go move towards the next step. So Shatkarmas are explained for the people who has a excess meda and shleshma. 6 cleansing processes, that is a dhauti, basti, neti, trataka, nauli and kapalabhati. After the complete purification of the nadis through nadi shodhan pranayam and shatkarma as per requirement, the yogi has to start with the ashtakumbhakas, 8 type of pranayams. Surya Bhedan, Ujjayi, Sitkari, Shitali, Bhastrika, Brahmari, Murcha and Plavini are the 8 type of pranayam. Then Swatmaram has explained about the process or technique of performing these pranayams. Some of the special results about the pranayam he has mentioned, like Surya Bheda is excellent for the purifying the cranium, Kapala Shodhana, destroying the imbalances of the wind dosha, Vata dosha, and eliminates the worms. For Ujjayi, he says Ujjayi removes the kapha from the throat and stimulates the digestive fire. It removes the dropsy and disorders of the nadis and dhatu. This is the only pranayam that can be practiced while moving, standing, sitting, and walking. Sitkari, by the practice of Sitkari, one becomes a second Kamadeva, god of love, very lovely personality, a glow on the face and beautifully one. Yogi becomes the destroyer of the cycle of creation. He is not affliction by the hunger, will not suffer by the hunger, thirst, sleep, or lassitude. Sitkari cures the colic, enlarged spleen, fever, disorder of bile. Again, the hunger and thirst can be controlled and counteracts the poisons. Bhastrika destroys the Vata Pitta Kapha. Destroys means balance the Vata Pitta Kapha. It increases the digestive power. It quickly awakens the Kundalini, purifies the systems and gives the pleasure. It destroys the kapha and impurities accumulated at the entrance of Brahma Nadi, that is a central Nadi. Bhastrika is useful to break the three knots, that is a Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, and Rudra Granthi. This is a Granthi is a special term used in the Hatha Yoga. Granthi means a knot. Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra are the three psychic knots situated in the astral bodies, that is the Sukshma Sharira. They block the chakras and obstruct the flow of prana or energy from rising upward. In a simple term, each knot is like a closed room for our complexes, unconscious fear, or our conditioning, mental, emotional, physical conditioning, like that. Three granthis all together constitute the unconscious complex that we call it as a sanskara. It is woven by the illusion and the rigidity of the past births and all these things. So it is accumulated from the birth to birth, and this is a strong opposition in the that it gives a passage to the spiritual power. It is an obstacle. Brahma Granthi, it covers the area of Muladhara and Swadhisthana chakra. It is also called as a perineal node. It relates with the Tamasa guna. It is reflected as a chaos, lethargy, anxiety, ignorance, or the destructive power and all these things. Vishnu Granthi, it covers the area of Manipura and Anahata chakra. It is related with the Rajasa guna, the universal power of motion and activity. It shows the tendency of egoism, passion, self-centeredness and all. Rudra Granthi covers the Vishuddhi chakra and Ajna chakra, related with the Sattva guna, creative power, purity, harmony, positivity, all are the tendencies reflected. When the yogi is going for this sadhana to attain the highest bliss state, that is a samadhi stage, he has to break through all these gunas, all these knots, this conditioning, all these samskaras. So Bhastrika pranayam is helpful to break these three knots or conditioning or the samskaras from the past births also, and that's why Bhastrika has to be practiced. This is stated by the Swatmara. For the Brahmari, he said that Brahmari creates the Ananda Lahari, the waves of happiness in the Chitta. Murcha Pranayam causes the mind to swoon with comfort. For the Plavini Pranayam, Swatma Ramji said that yogi can float on the deepest water with the help of Plavini Pranayam. The third chapter, third Upadesha, is about the Mudra and Bandha. Uh, Initially, Swatmaram explained about the Kundalini. Kundalini is the dormant energy which is the base of the life. It has to be awakened by piercing the chakras and granthis. The purpose of mudra is to awaken the energy. After practicing all the previous asanas and pranayam, shuddhi kriyas and everything, after that mudra and bandha has to be practiced. In the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Swatmaram explained about the 10 mudras. Mahamudra, Mahabandha, Mahavedha, Khechari, Uddiyana Bandha, Moola Bandha, Chalandar Bandha, Viparita Karani, Vajroli and Shakti Chalana. These are the 10 mudras which keeps away the old age and death, Jara Mrityu Vinashaka. And as a result of this mudras, this is an advanced practice. So when the yogi will start practicing these mudras, he will be blessed by the 8 superpowers, that is a Ashtasiddhi. Anima, Mahima, Laghima, Garima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishita and Vashita and all. So might be the different ways. the Swatmaram says that these are the very important practices and the core of the Hatha Yoga sadhana. So it has to be kept sacred. The only eligible person or the sadhaka should be blessed with the mudras. And as per the Guru's instruction, he has to follow the mudra because this is directly dealing with the Kundalini energy, awakening of the Kundalini energy. So the sadhaka should be capable of handling this energy. The fourth chapter is about the Samadhi phase. The salutation to the Guru, who is a Shiva himself, in the form of Nada Bindu and Kala. Experiencing the Nada Bindu Kala is the supreme state of the bliss, which is inside. Nada is an internal sound, that is Anahata Nada. Bindu is internally aroused light or energy experience, and Kala is a rich sensation felt all over the body. When the Nada and Bindu are aroused or experienced, the Kala is the sensation, special sensation. Then Swatmarama gives a synopsis of the highest state of the bliss. Raja Yoga is the Samadhi stage, that is a Unmani stage, Mano Unmani, Amaratva, Laya, Tattva, Shunya. It gives different names for the Samadhi state. And after that, he explains, actually, we can say, try to explain with some of the examples what that Samadhi phase is, how one can experience this is a Samadhi stage. So he has explained, given some examples for that. Swadmaram says, as the salt and water becomes one when mixed, so the unity of self, Atman, and the mind is called as a Samadhi. When prana decreases and the mind dissolves, that phase is called as a Samadhi. Or the Jivatma and Paramatma became one, where all the thoughts are disappear. That phase is called as a Samadhi. So he has tried to give the different examples and explain what the Samadhi stage is. Now, Swatmaram has explained a few of the things how to attain this Samadhi phase or highest bliss state. So, he has explained about breathe and mind. Breathe and mind can't be separated. Where there is a breathe, there is a thinking, and where is a mind, there is a breathing. So, if one is active, other one will be active. When one perishes, the other perishes. All the senses will be active when the mind and breathe are active, and when the mind and breathe both are perishes, the state of liberation can be attained. When the prana flows through the sushumna nadi, that is a central nadi, both the mind and breathe perishes. On attaining the stage of the samadhi, the yogi does not remain aware of the sensation of the taste, smell, touch, breathe, and himself and other also. And that phase is called as a laya. Laya is a forgetting the object of experience, as a result of which no further desire arises. So laya of mind, laya of breath. Perishing the mind and breath is the one of the method explained by the Swatmaram, calling as a laya. With the laya, samadhi phase can be experienced. With the higher practice of Shambhavi Mudra and Khechari Mudra, with the help of Mudra, are helpful to experience the Unmani phase. Unmani phase is a Samadhi phase. Mudra helps to prevent the Bindu, that is the energy within, and experience that energy of the Bindu experience at the in inner stage. So it is also a highest bliss state which can be experienced. After the Laya and Bindu, Swatmaram talks about the Nada Anusandhana. Nada is a subtle sound and Anusandhana means to follow it. Yogis sitting in a Muktasana, concentrated in Shambhavi Mudra, should listen closely the Nada heard within his right ear. Closing one ear, nose, mouth, all this explained in details. This sound is from the when prana moves through the sushumna, that nada is heard by the yogi. That is called as a nada brahma yoga. This is a phase of Samadhi, goes on developing it, one after another one. So it has four phases, four stages. We can call it as a gradually developing stages of the Samadhi with the Nada, with the help of the Nada, with the Anusandhana with the Nada, Arambha, Ghata, Parichaya and Nishpatti. These are the Samadhi phases, goes on developing, goes into the depth. Fourth stage, Nishpatti, is the stage of the Samadhi, final Samadhi. First one is the Arambha. In an initial stage, when the Brahma Granthi or Muladhara chakra is pierced, prana enters in the Sushumna. Tinkling sounds and unstruck sound, Anahata Nada, are heard within the body. This is the first stage. We can hear the sound of the ocean, then clouds, kettle drum, and jarjara drums. These are the symbolic things. These are the sounds he can experience. His body became lustrous, and he will experience the diseaselessness. In this phase, yogi has to concentrate on the subtler sound so he can develop to the next stage. This is the first phase where the sadhaka can experience or listen the nada of anahata nada, uh, which is getting created inside the body. Next is a ghata stage, when the Vishnu Granthi, second knot, is pierced and the greatest bliss is loud. Anahata chakra is on. The sound of kettle drum, shankha, and horns can be heard by the yogi. The sound is little bit subtler one. In the third stage, that is a experience of the sound of the drum. Sound is little bit subtle level. Then there is a great void, and one enters the place of the total perfection, that is a siddhi. The siddhi can be experienced very perfectly. Here is the bliss of the chitta is attained. Natural and spontaneous vairagya is arising. Imbalances of the three humours, that is a dosha, pain, old age, disease, hunger, normally everyone can experience, the yogi will overcome it. He will go beyond it. Svatma Rama is describing here the third stage is the awakening of the Kundalini by the Nada Yoga. He can experience that energy is going rising up and up and up. So it comes till the Vishuddhi chakra. When the sadhana goes beyond the three phases, uh, if the Rudra Granthi is pierced, then the fire of prana moves to the place of Ishvara. Then the stage of Nishpatti, he can experience hear the sound of flute or veena like this. That is a resonating everything and getting a layer. This is the final stage of the perception of the nada. It's the final. When it is developed, Kundalini pierces the Ajna chakra and the Rudra Granthi. That will be called as a Raja Yoga. So beyond just end of the Nishpatti will be the Raja Yoga, final stage of the Samadhi Sthiti. Yogi becomes a Ishvara. The pleasure arising from the Laya is derived from the Raja Yoga. This is the highest bliss state. In Samadhi, a yogi is not aware of the smell, taste, touch or sound. Whose mind is not sleeping, not awakened. In the Samadhi, yogi is unaware of the heat and cold, pain and pleasure, honor, dishonor. He goes beyond it. That is the rare moment when the ego is completely fused and lost. At that time, where is the only experience and not the experiencer of the experience. Such a experiences is not as an absolute experience. Only the experience remains. It has a various names that can be called as a transcendental experience, nirvikalpa samadhi, some may call it nirvana or a moksha. And this is a final aim of the Hatha Yoga, says by Swatmarama. So Swatmaram ends his Hatha Yoga Vidya with the Nada Anusandhana Samadhi Phase. Now, let's go with a short introduction to Gheranda Samhita. Gheranda Samhita was written by the Gheranda Rishi around the 17th to 18th century. It is also called as a Ghatastha Yoga or Saptanga Yoga. It was recorded as a conversation between Chandakapali and Gheranda Rishi, in which Chandakapali asked the Gheranda to impart him knowledge about the physical discipline of yoga that would lead to the knowledge of the Tattva, truth. In response to that, Gheranda Rishi said, Nasti Maya Samah Pasho, Nasti Yogat Param Balam, Nasti Jnanat Paro Bandhur, Na Ahankarat Paro Ripuhu. There are no flitters like those of illusions, no strength like that which comes from the discipline of yoga, no friend better than knowledge, and no enemy greater than ego. Just as by learning the alphabets one can read, similarly by practicing the yoga one can obtain knowledge of truth. So, yoga is for the knowledge of truth. Gheranda called this as a Ghatastha Yoga. Ghata is a technical word used here which indicates not only the body but all that makes a person as a unit. It may be termed as a Sharira or Deha. In a philosophical sense, which includes the Sukshma Sharira or subtle body, which is responsible for the birth rebirth. This chain can be broken and future trends of rebirth modified through the practices of yoga. Gheranda Rishi explained Ghata Shuddhi, which means not only the purification but also the fortification of the psychophysical unit. The methods of Ghata Shuddhi includes the 7 processes. Shodhanam dhrudata chaiva sthairya dhairya cha laghavam pratyaksham cha nirliptam cha ghatastha sapta sadhanam. These are the 7 things. Shodhana, dhrudata, sthirata, dhairya, laghava, pratyaksha and nirliptam. These processes are undergone through the practices of respectively Shatkarma, Asana, Mudra, Pratyahara, Dhyana and Samadhi. In a first chapter, that is the Shatkarma Sadhana, the body first to be purified and freed from the diseases by practicing Shatkarma. Gheranda Rishi explained the 6 types of Shuddhi Kriya, Shatkarmas, Dhauti, Basti, Neti, Trataka, Nauli and Kapalbhati. These are the main karmas and subdivided into Dhauti of 13 types, Basti of 2 types, Neti, Tratak, Nauli 1 each and Kapalbhati of 3 types. Some of the examples of indication of connecting the preliminary practices to the ultimate of the higher experiences are Karna Dhauti is to be practiced for the cleansing of ears, but the end in view is to acquire the capacity to hear mystical internal sounds. The Nadi Nirmala, purification of the nadis of the head region, with the practices of 5 types of Danta Dhauti, is expected to produce the Divya Drushti. Divya Drushti is a superpowers for the eyes. Neti karma, while destroying the kapha dosha, leads to khechari. Khechari is a mudra practice and which comes in the higher grade of practices and produces the Divya Drushti. Trataka destroys the disease of the eyes, produces the Divya Drushti and leads to Shambhavi Mudra. So these are the preliminary practices, but this is a starting phase for the higher studies. In a second chapter, Asana, uh, Gheranda Rishi said, Asanena bhaveta dhruda, strengthening through the regular practice of asana. Gheranda Rishi explained, Shiva has described 84 lakh asanas. Out of this, 84 are the best, and these 32 have been found most useful for the mankind. And so Gheranda Rishi has explained 32 asanas. Siddhasan, Padmasan, Bhadrasan, Muktasan, Vajrasan, Swastikasan, Simhasan, Gomukhasan, Veerasan, Dhanurasan, Shavasana, Mrutasana. It is also called as a Mrutasana. Guptasana, Matsyendrasan, Matsyasan, Matsyendrasan, Gorakshasan, Paschimottanasana, Utkatasan, Sankatasan, Mayurasan, Kukkutasan, Kurmasan, Uttana Kurmasan, Uttana Mandukasan, Vrikshasan, Mandukasan, Garudasan, Vrishabhasan, Shalabhasan, Makarasana, Ushtrasana, Bhujangasan, and Yogasan. Gheranda Rishi has explained all about the technique of asana, how to perform the asanas in detail. Some of the special benefits he has mentioned are Siddhasana is described as a very important asana which opens the door of realization. Mayurasana burns up all the overeaten, unwholesome food, stimulate the gastric heat, digest the deadliest poisons, and quickly cures the disease like tumors. Shavasana removes the fatigue and gives relief to the mind. The description of the Bhujangasana goes a step further by reference to the awakening of the Kundalini. These are the special results explained by the Gheranda Rishi. In the third chapter, third Upadesha, Gheranda Rishi talks about the Mudra. Mudra is for sthirata, that is a steadiness. The intention of the mudra is to awaken the Kundalini Shakti, the dormant energy which is lying in the Mooladhara chakra. Through the practice of these mudras, the yogi can accomplish victory over the death, decay, old age, diseases. The mudra described in the Gheranda Samhita are 25. Mahamudra, Nabho Mudra, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhar Bandha, Moola Bandha, Mahabandha, Mahavedha, Khechari, Viparita Karani, Yoni Mudra, Vajroli, Shakti Chalini, Tadagi, Manduki, Shambhavi Mudra, Panchadharana, Pashini, Kaki, and Matangini. Gheranda Rishi has explained about all about the mudras, how to perform that mudras in detail. Fourth chapter is about the Pratyahara. The first three sadhana, that is Shatkarma, Asana, Mudra, described previously, made an occasional entry into the psychological and sometimes the metaphysical field, but they were firmly established on the physical plane. With the Pratyahara, sadhaka enters into the psychological field as it is stated that Arthat sampravakshami pratyaharaka kamuttamaha yasya vijnana matrena kamadi ripunashanam. With the excellent practice of Pratyahara, the enemies like desires are destroyed. They are called as a Shadripu. Kama is a desire, Krodha is anger, Lobha is a greed, Mada is arrogance, Moha delusion, and Matsara is a jealousy. These are called as a Shadripu, 6 enemies, and that can be controlled with the help of Pratyahara. One should bring their restless mind or thoughts under control whenever it wanders off and get distracted by the material sense objects. So bring the mind under your control. Whether it is praise or criticism by others, good speech or bad speech, good smell or odor, taste, etc., one should constantly practice withdrawal of the mind from distracting thoughts and bring it under control. That is called as a pratyahara. Fifth chapter is about the pranayama, where the angalaghavam, lightness of the body, is the main. Lightness of the body is accomplished through the pranayama, through the practice in which one becomes a godlike. The requirements for the success of pranayama are an appropriate place, appropriate time, moderate food, and purification of the nadis. So in the preparation of the pranayama, again all the concepts same like Swatmaram has explained in the Hatha Pradipika are explained by the Gheranda Rishi in the Gheranda Samhita. Like it should be practiced in a hut. The hut should not be in totally in a forest or in a foreign lands, or it should be not in a crowded place. All the concepts same like Hatha Sankalpana, which is given in the Swatmaram has explained in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Same concepts are explained by the Gheranda Rishi in the Gheranda Samhita. In addition to the place, it is also recommended in which season the pranayama has to be started. The beginner should begin these practices in a Sharada and Vasanta Rutu, that is a spring and fall. That is a good season to start with the pranayama. And with that season, the important concept which is explained in detail by the Gheranda Rishi is the Mitahara. Mitahara is explained like Shuddha Sumadhura Snigdha Udara Ardha Vivarjitam Bhujjate Surasampritya Mitahara Mimam Viduhu. The yogi should eat moderate, mita ahara, as moderate as per the requirement to attain the success and avoid the illness. And after that, the list is given what to eat and what not to eat, how it should be. Food allowed like a rice, mug beans, and barley, wheat, cucumber, and all. Less list is given. Some of the green leafy vegetables are also suggested, which are good to eat. That is also given. What not to do, not to have, not to eat. That is also explained. Pathya, bitter, acidic, salty, roasted food should be avoided. Again, the list is given. Might be the contents, the which what to have and what not to have are from the that age, or that which the contents will be from the 16th 17th century. But the recommendation which is given, that is a fresh butter, ghee, sugar, and all these things, or milk and ghee for pranayama initial stages, all are pointing towards the satvika food, which is to be satvika or good nutrition, fresh and easy to digest. That is the first thing which is explained over here. Another thing in all that list is given that how should be prepared. The food should be prepared and eaten in a happy state of mind. That is also a very important part which is given. Third and very important part about the mitahara, how much we have to consume. अन्नेन पूरयेत् अर्धं तोयेन च तृतीयकम् उदरस्य तुर्यांशं च संरक्षेत वायुचारणे. Food should be accumulated to occupy 50% of the stomach. Another 1/4 for the water or a liquid one, and the 1/4 should be kept empty. This is a very important thing to keep in mind. So, what to consume, how to consume, how much to consume, all things are explained in a mitahara concept. After this complete preparation, pranayama actual practice has to be started. So, how to sit and where to face, that is also explained by the Gheranda Rishi on the kusha type of the grass, facing towards the east or north. And then he has to start with the Nadi Shuddhi. First, purification of the Nadi, energy channels in the astral body. Prior commencing the Kumbhaka, he has to go with the Nadi Shuddhi. And he has given that Nadi Shuddhi is of two types, Samanu and Nirmanu. Samanu is done with a Bija mantra and Nirmanu is done with a Dhauti karma, the Shatkarmas which are explained already. With that, there are two types of the cleansing processes. This Samanu and Nirmanu are, we cannot clearly state that these are the physical level or subtle level. All the nadis are categorized into the two types, that is on the gross and in a subtle level, and all these are purified by the two practices, that is a nadi shuddhi pranayam and with the dhauti karma. Both are useful for this type of the cleansing process of the gross body and subtle body. So in the Samanu Nadi with a Nadi Shodhan Pranayam with a Bija Mantra And he has explained, Gheranda Rishi has explained which bija mantra has to be chanted while inhalation, which bija mantra has to be chanted while or concentrated on the Kumbhaka, and while the Rechaka, which bija mantra has to be practiced. All he has explained in detail, that is for the Samanu Nadi Shuddhi. And after the cleansing process, this Shuddhis, the Kumbhaka has to be practiced. So 8 type of Kumbhakas or breath retentions are explained by Gheranda Rishi. Sahita, Surya Bhedan, Ujjayi, Shitali, Bhastrika, Brahmari, Murcha and Kevali. Sahita Kumbhaka, it is also a Anulom Vilom or Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam, is of 2 types. Again, it is divided into the 2 types. Sagarbha, again in the Bija mantra, and Nirgarbha without a mantra repetition are explained in details. Again, in a Sahita Kumbhaka, different types of the mantras has to be chanted as a Sahita Kumbhaka, also called as a Sagarbha Pranayam. Sagarbha Sahita Kumbhaka is Anulom Vilom Pranayam with a repetition of Bija mantra, and Nirgarbha Sahita Pranayam is also a Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam or Anulom Vilom without a Bija mantra. Different concentration practices, that is a Dhyana and mantras, are explained by the Gheranda Rishi in explaining this Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam. Gheranda Rishi has explained Nadi Shodhan Pranayam in detail with the mental chanting of Bija mantra. Pranayama is 3 phases are explained, same like Swatmarama has explained in the Hatha Pradipika. The highest type of pranayama has its Puraka lasting for 20 counts, Kumbhaka for 80 counts, and Rechaka for 40 counts. That is a 1:4:2. That is the ratio, and it leads to the levitation. Moderate will be for the 16 Puraka, 64 Kumbhaka, and 32 Rechaka. Count gives the rise to the tremor in the spinal column. And the lowest type is of 12 Puraka inhalation, 48 Kumbhaka retention, and 24 exhalation, that is a Rechaka counts, gives the warmth experience. In the pranayam, the element of the dhyana is clearly introduced in the Sagarbha variety of Sahita Kumbhaka, Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. As with the preceding sadhana, pranayam, in addition to its being a destroyer of diseases and kundalini bodhaka, and also results in a manonmani bhava. That is very clearly explained in the this one as a result of the pranayam. Pranayama khecharatvam, pranayama drujahatihi, pranayama shakti bodha, pranayaman manonmani. Anando jayate chitte pranayami sukhi bhavet. So with the pranayam, all these benefits are experienced. So this is the combination of meditation also, and chanting of mantras also, and experiencing the kundalini also. And manonmani bhava, that is a happiness feeling, bliss experience, will also be experienced with this Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. The Brahmari Kumbhaka enables the aspirant to hear a various sound growing subtler until the Anahata sound is heard. That is a speciality of Brahmari Kumbhaka is given, in which the scene Jyoti, and when the mind is concentrated on this, one reaches to the Paramapada of the Vishnu. This success in the Brahmari leads to Samadhi easily. Again, this is a benefits explained by the Gheranda Rishi for the Brahmari Pranayam. Brahmari is explained as a basic starting position of the Samadhi Sthiti. This is a preparation for the Samadhi. Parampada of a Vishnu, that is a phase of the Vishnu, can be experienced with the Brahmari. So as all the pranayamas, Ashtakumbhakas are explained very in detail by the Gheranda Rishi, the technique of doing the pranayam and the results of the pranayam, all in general are explained by the Gheranda Rishi, and he moves towards the next chapter. The sixth chapter is about the Dhyana. Gheranda Rishi has explained about the three types of the Dhyana meditation: Sthula, gross, Jyoti, and Sukshma. These three meditations will help the practitioner to perceive his true self, the reality. The Sthula Dhyana has to concentrate on the object, real or imaginary. Here in the Gheranda Rishi has given many examples of the imaginary objects. He has explained that imagine a Iceland at your heart place, decorated with different flowers, and just observe the deity or guru over there and concentrate on him. Like that, he has given a imaginary field objects where the sadhaka yogi can concentrate. That will be a sthula dhyana, a basic dhyana type. In the next one, Jyoti, in the Muladhara chakra, the Kundali lies in a shape of a coil of having 3.5 turns. Here resides the Jivatma like a flame. He says, in the Kundalini, it is a energy, that is a life, that we call it as a life, that is a Jivatma. Imagine it as a flame. And yogi has to experience his soul. Direct perception of the soul is possible when yogi meditates on this luminous flame of Jivatma at the place of Muladhara chakra with the Kundalini. It's a Kundalini energy is a Jivatma. That is a energy. He has to imagine or meditate on that flame. And in the Sukshma Dhyana, it is little bit subtle level, in more in the depth, where the yogi has to concentrate on Brahma as a Bindu or a goddess Kundalini. He has to experience the Kundalini. With the help of Shambhavi Mudra, he has to fix his gaze at the Om in the third eye. He has to concentrate. Third eye is a Ajna Chakra. He has to perform a Shambhavi Mudra, concentrate at the Ajna Chakra, and experience the real nature of Kundalini or himself, and that is a Brahman. Himself is a Brahman. He can experience his real Brahman nature as a Bindu or small dot, small one, and as an energy form. He can experience himself as an energy form, is a Sukshma Dhyana. So Tejo Dhyana is 100 times superior than Sthula, then Sukshma Dhyana is 100 times superior than Tejo Dhyana. So these are dhyanas are not a different one. Is development stages. These are the developing stages. By this dhyana yoga, Atma is revealed. Having perceiving the self by dhyana, the next step is of course the samadhi, by which one realizes one's identity with the Brahman. Seventh and last chapter talks about the samadhi. Samadhi means Raja Yoga. If a person is very fortunate, here it is specifically given Samadhischa paro yogo bahu bhagyena labhyate guru kuru prasadena prapyate guru bhaktitaha. If a person is very fortunate and the grace of the guru is with him, he can achieve samadhi. Person who is devoted to guru with confidence will be able to achieve samadhi yoga. Person whose mind is open to intelligence and who has knowledge and faith in guru and himself will be able to achieve the samadhi yoga. Separation of the mind from the body and its union with the supreme soul is the mukti or the samadhi. Self realization is comes automatically. Here the samadhi is of sixfold. Gheranda Rishi has explained 6 types of samadhi. Dhyana Samadhi, that is a meditation samadhi accomplished by the Shambhavi Mudra. Rasananda Samadhi, Bliss in test is accomplished by the Khechari Mudra. Nada Samadhi, sound Samadhi, is accomplished by Brahmari. Laya Samadhi, absorption, is accomplished by the Yoni Mudra. Bhakti Yoga Samadhi is accomplished through the contemplation on one's deity. Sixth Samadhi is attained through the Mano Murcha, leading to restraint on the mind. So, here Samadhi can be attained with the different ways or different techniques with a subtle and higher studies of that Shambhavi Mudra, Khechari Mudra, or Brahmari, Yoni Mudra, one can experience the Samadhi. So, Samadhi can be a sixfold. Through the Samadhi, the quality of Nirlipta Tattva or detachment, and thereafter the Mukti is attained. Samadhi is the both process as well as the result of that process. As the process of Samadhi means intense mental concentration, free from all sankalpa and attachment to the world expressed in the terms of aham and mamatva, I and mine. Everything is destroyed. Everything goes off. And as a result of such process, it is the union of Jiva and Paramatma, that is a self and universal self. And that is the final aim, moksha, can be experienced by this Hatha Yoga. Gheranda Rishi has explained these concepts in a sevenfold practices to attain the moksha. This is a brief introduction of the Hatha Pradipika and Gheranda Samhita. Thank you everyone. Hari Om.